The Mughals did not fall with the battle cry. Delhi burned, its last emperor was exiled, along with the dynasty ended by silence and shame. Hello and welcome to the finale of the Gunpowder Empire series. I'm your host Rayyan Hassan, and today we explore the final sunset of the Mughal Empire, British expansion, and the aftermath once the dynasty was dissolved. In this series, you learned all about the Mughals, from Babur's first raids into India all the way till Aurangzeb's death in 1707. In the last episode, we learned about what had been going on for the last 150 years in India after Aurangzeb's death and what happened to the Mughal dynasty. By the mid-19th century, the Mughal Empire became a shadow of its former glory. Once rulers of nearly all of India, the emperors now lived under the watchful eye of the British East India Company, reduced to symbolic figureheads in their own palaces. Their power had faded, but their legacy was still in the hearts of the people. We will now trace the empire's last days, how British domination tightened its grip on India, how a nation rose with nationalism for the first time during the Sepoy Mutiny, and how the last emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, faced exile, loss, and the closing point to an end of centuries of Mughal rule. As explored in the last episode, after Aurangzeb's death, the Mughal Empire fragmented, and regional powers rose to fill the vacuum. Into this chaos stepped the British East India Company, a trading corporation that slowly transformed into a political force. Victories at Plassey in 1757 and Buxar in 1764 against allied Indian powers gave the company control over Bengal and large parts of northern India. While the Mughal emperors were successfully pushed into irrelevance, kept in Delhi as pensioners with no real power, the company's officials carried out laws, collected taxes, and commanded armies, while apparently claiming to rule in the Mughal emperor's name. By the early 19th century, the British were the true rulers of India, and the Mughal throne had become little more than a faded symbol of a vanished dynasty. The Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, or Indian Rebellion of 1857, was the greatest challenge the British faced in India during the 19th century, and it erupted from years of resentment and exploitation of Indians. Indian sepoys, the standard soldiers of the East India Company's army, had long been frustrated with poor pay, harsh discipline, and a lack of respect for their traditions, cultures, and religions. The spark came when rumors spread that new rifle cartridges for their guns were greased with cow and pig fat, deeply offensive and not allowed for both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. Refusing to bite the cartridges, many sepoys revolted in Meerut in present-day Indian state Uttar Pradesh in May 1857, killing their officers and marching to Delhi. There, they declared the aging Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, as their leader, reviving the Mughal name as a symbol of unity against British rule, despite the emperor being reluctant. The rebellion spread rapidly across northern India, fueled by economic disparity, land seizures under unfair British law, and anger at the British for their cultural and religious interference. For months, towns and cities were engulfed in bloody battles, as rebels sought to drive out the British and restore Indian authority. Yet the uprising was fragmented, lacking real leadership and teamwork, while the British retaliated with ruthless force, recapturing Delhi, killing rebels and innocent civilians alike, and leaving entire neighborhoods in ruins and burning. The revolt was crushed by 1858, but its impact was enormous. It marked the end of company rule and the beginning of royal rule as the British Raj and the last time the Mughal dynasty stood as a symbol of resistance. Bahadur Shah Zafar was the last Mughal emperor, never meant to be a ruler of armies or an architect of empire. By the time he inherited the throne in 1837, the Mughals had long since lost their power, and Zafar himself was more a poet and patron of culture than a king. He surrounded himself with scholars, musicians, and Sufi monks, turning Delhi into a vibrant center of Urdu poetry and artistic expressionism. But history ended up forcing him into a role he did not seek. When the Sepoy Mutiny erupted in 1857, rebels looked to Zafar as a unifying symbol of India's struggle, declaring him the Emperor of Hindustan. Old, frail, and reluctant, he agreed, knowing the importance of his ancestors' legacy still carried meaning. For a brief moment, the Mughal name inspired hope across India. Yet, as the rebellion collapsed under brutal British retaliation, Zafar became the victim. Captured in his own palace, humiliated, and put on trial by the British, he was sentenced to exile in Rangoon in present-day Myanmar, far from the city he loved. There, stripped of power, family, and dignity, he spent his final years in loneliness and sorrow, dying in 1862. His burial was unmarked, denied even the simple honor of a grave in Delhi, his home country. With Bahadur Shah Zafar's death, not only did the Mughal dynasty end, but an entire chapter of India's history was closed in silence, grief, and exile. The fall of Bahadur Shah Zafar marked more than just the end of a dynasty. It symbolized the death of an era. With his exile, the Mughal line that had ruled India for over 3 centuries was extinguished, and in its place rose the British Raj, a foreign empire that would dominate the subcontinent for nearly 1 century. Yet the Mughals left behind more than thrones and palaces. They left a cultural inheritance that still defines India today. Its grand monuments, its mixed traditions, its art, poetry, and the memory of a time when the emperors shaped the land. Zafar himself, in his poetry, gave voice to the sorrow of a broken empire, mourning that he could not even claim 2 yards of land in his own homeland. His words help us understand not only his personal tragedy, but also the pain of a nation under foreign rule. The Mughal Empire ended in silence and fragments, but its echoes still breathe, reminding us of both its greatness and its fall. Thank you so much for all your time and attention given to listen to me during this whole series. Congratulations! You have just learned all about the Mughal Empire, and now you will be able to pass on the knowledge and stories of a dynasty that lasted hundreds of years. I appreciate all support given, and I hope you stick around for more new upcoming series of mine to come out. That's all for today, and thank you for watching the Gunpowder Empire. I'm your host Rayyan Hassan, and I will see you soon.